There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power, indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angels' wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power.
Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Midtown, Atlanta. You are welcome. Such is the nature of life that all it asks and all it wants is the opportunity to appear. You are that opportunity, and so am I. So it is. Whoever you are, whatever path brought you here today, please know that you are welcome and celebrated. And a happy Mother's Day to everybody out there that's a mother or acting like a mother. It's awesome. So we're glad you're here, or if you're listening to this later. We know who you are. You're an individualized expression of the divine life in which we all live. We are life's opportunity to be someone unique and wonderful. Whatever your ethnic background or religious affiliation, and however you know yourself or describe yourself, we are glad you're joining us here today. You're welcome to be part of this community in whatever way serves you. Here's our vision statement. We are a strong, open, globally connected community centered on the clarity of principle through teaching, service, and practice. We create a safe and respectful environment that supports healthy spiritual growth. And for a better understanding of who we are and what we teach, listen to our Declaration of Principles as written by our founder, Ernest Holmes.
A few of the Declaration of Principles we live by.
I believe in one God, one absolute power, and first cause to all things.
I believe that this power is perfect love, and it creates out of a desire to express love.
I believe all thought is creative, and how I choose to think creates my personal experience.
I believe in the unity of all life, and the immortality of the individual soul forever unfolding.
I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of God to all.
And so it is.
So grateful, hey.
So a practitioner is someone who has demonstrated the ability to use spiritual principles in practice and laws to bring about great changes in their lives. And they've also demonstrated that they know how to bring about these changes in others when asked. You can contact our practitioners on our website, cslmidtown.org. And if you need spiritual guidance or spiritual assistance, they're there to help you. Today, we've got one of our amazing practitioners to share good ideas in an affirmative prayer called Spiritual Mind Treatment. Welcome, Maya Fuller. Thanks.
Thank you, Vance. Good morning, CSL Midtown. Happy Mother's Day to everyone celebrating. Mothers, grandmothers, all the folks who mother in so many different ways. And to those of us who have been loved and mothered by amazing people, happy Mother's Day. So today we're talking about something that might seem a little backwards for spiritual people, especially in New Thought, when people have a certain misunderstanding, I might say, that everything has to be perfect all the time. The topic for today is debuting the doubting self. As you know, this month is about all things related to doubt. And so this topic is debuting the doubting self. It's not about getting rid of doubt. It's not about rising above doubt, but actually bringing it out of hiding and into community. A lot of us might have learned that being spiritually mature means showing up with the confident self, the Zen self, the peaceful self, the I've got it all figured out self. But real life is a little different than that, right? We have moments of clarity and we have moments where we're not so sure. We have faith and we have questions. So this week's theme is about debuting the doubting self, like I said, but really it's about letting every part of us belong to the one life that we are. Here's what I want us to sit with. What would happen if you let your doubting self be seen by people the same way you let your confident self be seen? What if doubt isn't something that we need to hide? What if it's something we actually need to bring into community where it gets held and witnessed and transformed? Not necessarily into certainty, but definitely into deeper faith in a spiritual community like this. And I know this works because I live it and I practice it. The speaker for today, Reverend James Peake, actually has put together this weekly study group of practitioners and ministers and lay members where we get to bring our real selves, doubt and all. And while we study whatever we're studying, we're being introspective and we're speaking our truth, doubt and all, and we let the community hold us. As a matter of fact, I emphasize the same thing with my practitioner clients and the groups that I lead. It's okay to have doubts. It's normal. Actually bringing them into the light is where the real transformation happens. And here's what I've learned in those spaces. Doubt doesn't make faith weaker. It actually makes it deeper. So after our treatment today, we're going to hear from Reverend Dr. James Peake, who we love having back here. And he's going to show us what becomes possible when we share all of ourselves, the doubting parts included, and how that creates communities that can really hold each other in the fullness of being human. So let's move into spiritual mind treatment. I invite you to settle in your seats, to close your eyes maybe, if you feel safe, if you're in a safe space, but to settle into this right now moment where we know and affirm and celebrate the truth together that there is but one life. And we know that life is God. And that life expresses of all of creation. All power, presence, life, and love are God in its fullness. This life knows no division between doubt and faith, between question and answer, between uncertainty and trust. This is the one life that holds all things, includes all things, transforms all things. This is God. This is spirit. This is the eternal presence that is the source and substance of all that is. This one life is my life right now, right here, right now. I open my heart and mind to conscious connection with this presence. My awareness expands and I realize even more that this life is what I am. And I am the revelation of that. I'm not separate from this wholeness. It includes every part of me, my certainty and my doubt, my faith and my questions, my knowing and my wondering. I am the full expression of divine life. Nothing excluded, nothing rejected. And so it is from this knowing that I claim the courage to debut my doubting self with the same grace I share with my confident self. So I release the belief Any belief that I might hold that spiritual maturity means hiding my questions or pretending certainty that I don't feel. I declare instead that doubt is not my enemy, but my companion on this path to genuine faith. It's part of life that leads me to faith. I share all parts of myself, including my doubt, with grace. I bring my questions into community, trusting that sharing my uncertainty is itself an act of faith. I know that when I allow others to witness my doubts, I give them permission to share theirs. Together, we create sacred space where doubt and faith dance as partners, not as opponents. I know that my doubt does not diminish my divinity. I am sure that life meets me exactly where I am. And I'm deeply grateful for this truth and its perfect demonstration in my life. And I give thanks for the courage to be fully human and fully divine, for the wisdom that comes through questioning is as important as the wisdom that comes through knowing. So I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks. I give thanks for spirit and for the love of all flowing in me, through me, as me, that allows me to rest, knowing that this divine, eternal truth, God in all, through all, as all, is right here, right now, always working in my favor, despite any doubts I might have. So I release these words into the creative medium of life, knowing that the law has already done its work, and all is well, and so it is. Amen. And now, as we prepare to receive James Peake, who is a beloved returned visitor to our community, we move into our music for reflection.
If I just show up, be open to surprise, there could be miracles right before my eyes. If I just let go, something better might appear. Who knows what will happen when joy replaces fear? When I dare to be all that I'm meant to be, like a shooting star across the sky, unstoppable and free. I shine my light, I turn darkness into light. When I dare to be brave, dare to be brave, I'll trust in who I am, be bold and take a shot. Who knows what will happen when I give it all I got? Even when I'm scared, I'll step into the ring. Got so much to offer with the gifts that I can bring. When I dare to be all that I'm meant to be, like a shooting star across the sky, unstoppable and free. I shine my light, I turn darkness into light. When I dare dare to be brave. Oh, I'm brave. I've worried for so long and I've wasted too much time. Now I'm ready to take a chance and claim what is mine. The path is free and clear. There's nothing in my way. I listen to my heart and not what other people say. I'm gonna take that leap. I've never felt so strong. I might not do it perfectly, but I'm right where I belong. And when I dare to be all that I'm meant to be, like a shooting star across the sky, I'm unstoppable and free. I shine my light, I turn darkness into light. When I dare to be brave, when I dare to be brave, nothing's gonna stop me. Nothing is in my way.
It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker this morning, and Maya's already mentioned who it is. It's Reverend James Peake. So James is an advocate for practicing kindness and living as the presence of unconditional love. He's an ordained Centers for Spiritual Living minister and has served as a senior minister of a local community and teaches in the CSL Latin School of Spiritual Leadership. And he's currently the Director of Information Technology at CSL Home Office in Colorado. He enjoys living among the pines in the foothills of the Rockies in Colorado with his son and 2 granddogs, along with hiking and golfing. So welcome back, Reverend James.
Thank you, Vance. It's good to be here. Maya actually gave a great overview of the whole talk, so I think maybe I'll just speak for a minute or two and we're good. Yeah. But yeah, it's an important topic, I think, in the spiritual path, and as we evolve and eventually awaken to our true nature. And the science of mind teaching is so powerful, and especially for folks who maybe have a lot of challenges in life and felt like life was happening to them, they have no control. And then this teaching really affirms that oneness is life, and there's an essence of wholeness and perfection back of all the conditions and everything we see. But I think there's a trap in there, and that as we're in the teaching for a while, and you may have experienced this yourself, where we can get caught up in, oh, it's all good, it's great, I'm going to show my spiritual confidence, and I can't allow anyone to see anything other than I'm this perfect spiritual manifesting machine. And yet the reality of it is that from time to time, and maybe often initially, there is some hesitation or some doubts that start to move in. We can, maybe our faith can wander or waver. And so today we're going to give that aspect, the doubting self, if you will, a proper introduction. And we're going to allow that doubting self to come out and play and dance with that a little bit and see what's the story of this doubting self, and how can maybe it actually support us in a deeper walk as spirit. So again, we're not here to silence any doubts, but to recognize that doubting and these hesitations have to be part of the wholeness that we are, for life is not divided. Ernest Holmes reminds us that the universe is not divided against itself. So there's one life, it's not divided against itself. So that must include all of our questions, any doubts we have, uncertainties. They have to be part of the one life. And sometimes I think folks can get self-judging and start to think that, well, if I'm having doubts and I'm not sure, and I'm not just taking the word of that Ernest Holmes wrote, or the word of the minister or the practitioner as gospel, then there's something wrong. There's maybe a failure of my consciousness. Something's wrong with me. But actually, when we doubt, it's actually consciousness doing what it's supposed to do. For within us, there is a recall or a memory, and sometimes it's buried very deep because of just how life evolves. But there's a remembrance of our truth, a remembrance of our wholeness. And so these doubts are really, truly are divine, because it's consciousness ultimately wanting to reintegrate or reawaken to its true nature, to the wholeness that it is. And it's really you could think of it as a soul saying, I want to know this for myself. I don't want to just take it on blind faith. I don't want to just believe it because it was written down somewhere. It's really not spiritual immaturity to have these doubts and to wonder, because it is this impulse that drives the spiritual inquiry. And ultimately, who is the best teacher? Who's the true teacher for each of us? It's the teacher within. When we get really quiet, maybe in meditation, sitting at a park, maybe right before we go to sleep at night, when we're very quiet, in that still voice, what I like to call the quiet whispers of spirit, that's our greatest teacher. And so the doubts actually are paving the way to a deep inquiry that allows us to really look at things and look at, is this true? This was taught, but is it really true? The science of mind really at its heart, at its core, if you will, is a path of investigation. Dr. Holmes never said, just believe it and get on with your life. No, he said, here are the principles. Try them for yourself. See if they work in your life. And if not, find something else that does work. And actually, the Buddha echoed something very similar. He also was not trying to force his teaching on anyone. It was, if it works, great. If not, there's other teachings out there, but find the teaching that works for you. And this divine doubt can get very heavy sometimes. So if we have built a life up, we have a foundation to our life, and we have a lot of structures and a lot of beliefs, and we're very certain about things. There can come a time when a lot of that can suddenly crumble in a very short period of time. Because if it's not true, ultimately it can't be supported by consciousness, and it will fall away. And when a lot of the falling away happens at one time, it can really fill us with doubts, even spiritual depression. And the mystics have referred to this for many years, going back to John of the Cross, as the dark night of the soul. It's where we really believed this is the way life was, and it starts to fall away. And what's happening is, again, it's not a failure. What's happening is all those false beliefs, all those structures that were supporting a life that wasn't really aligned with spirit, with truth, starts to fall away so that something greater can emerge, which is our true nature. And so Holmes wrote about this and talked about this, about the wholeness, about the oneness. And it's not just a spiritual bypass cute phrase that we can use like, oh, it's all good. Because certainly there's going to be times where we may have challenges in life. Loved ones may pass away. We could experience a loss of a job or loss of direction. And we don't want to just bypass it by saying it's all good. It's okay. It's actually encouraged in those moments to have some doubts, because again, it allows us to go deeper, to step greater into the one life. If there's oneness, and there really either is oneness or there isn't. We can't have a little bit of oneness, right? So if oneness is the reality of life, if there is truly one life, then that aspect of our consciousness that doubts must be part of that one life. And so there's no reason to banish it or to hide it or to put it somewhere on the shelf. For whether we use the word God, spirit, life, universe, it is present everywhere and at all times as everything. And so our doubt is part of this divine walk. It is part of this one life. Now, you may be familiar with the Science of Mind chant, that there's one life, that life is God's life, that life is perfect, that life is my life now. And if you haven't heard it or haven't used it in a while, I would encourage you at some point to just sit and put on a timer and do 3 minutes a day for a week and just see how that feels in your body. How does that show up in your demonstrations throughout the week? Because it really is the truth. One life. That life is God's life, which is everything. That life is perfect, and it's my life now. And the perfect doesn't mean that, oh, I look perfect and everything's going exactly perfect, but it's speaking to that wholeness, the essence of who we are. The spirit is perfect unto itself. It creates out of itself, and yet doesn't diminish itself. So it's always true. Even when things aren't going well, we're not sure, we're not feeling particularly spiritual, we're still of the one. We are still a unique aspect of life expressing. Just like everything we see in life, all the different forms, it's all life expressing. Now, another aspect of this, and a reminder, is that really radical inclusion is part of this teaching. Holmes taught that love is the self-givingness of spirit through the desire of life to express itself. Love points the way, the law makes it happen. There's another phrase that is simple and yet very right on about this teaching. But love is the nature of the divine. In fact, there is a divine love in and through and as everything. It's beyond the human heart. It's beyond human sense of love, because sometimes our love in human form can be a little conditional. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's unconditional, very accepting. But we can be a little conditional. But this divine love is beyond any world of duality. It's a true non-dual oneness love. It's always present. And so I would like to mention too that today, there's a lot of celebration, a lot of people celebrating Mother's Day. But for everyone, growing up with their mother wasn't always a positive experience. And so if you are someone who had challenges or may still be having challenges around this idea that we celebrate mothers, just know that that divine love is always present. And as you open to it, it will envelop you and remind you that you're loved, that you are whole, and that you are complete. So what we're getting at here is that the invitation or the opportunity is not to fix the doubting self or to try to banish it, but to love it into belonging, to eliminate that hesitation, eliminate that sense of stepping back. I don't know if I really want to go there. Can I really question a teaching, or can I question a relationship? Can I question life? It's imperative that we lay down our resistance. Because as we know, life mirrors back to us, right? Life mirrors back to the thinker what they put into it. Paraphrasing Holmes, but what we resist in ourselves, we project outward. Just like if we are enveloped in love and we're being the presence of love, we're going to project love in the world. And the challenge is that if we banish this doubting self, if we say, no, it may be part of me, but I don't want to dance with it. I don't want to look at it. I'm just going to hide it away. It doesn't go away. It's still there. And eventually that energy is going to come out sideways. It'll show up as judgment, it can show up as bitterness, and even brittleness, where it starts to shake the foundations of our faith. Because it needs to be seen and heard, just like all the other aspects of who we are. Seen, heard, and loved. So when we welcome in this doubting self, again, it's not a sign of weakness, but it's a spiritual practice that helps to integrate all of our aspects and return us to the wholeness that we are, that sometimes we forget. So again, it's not an act of spiritual regression if we're welcoming in this this doubting self, if we're working with it. But it is this act of integrating and reminding us that we're whole and complete. Again, not in a spiritual bypass way, not in a, oh, it's all good and I don't want to look at it, but in an honest way. And ultimately, by allowing this aspect of ourselves to be seen, to acknowledge it, be seen, it's really an act of liberation. Not only for ourselves, but for others. Whether it's a community that's spiritually based, such as Midtown, whether it's our community with our family, our community at work, maybe a club we belong to. We're in many communities. And the beauty of it is that when we are willing to be open and honest, including debuting the doubting self, we give permission. And people may not pick up on this consciously, but it may be unconscious. But we're giving permission to everyone around us to also stop pretending, to stop putting on the show, to stop having to have the perfect mask. And when all of that falls away, that's when we really have community, because it's built on our shared honesty, our openness, our love. And it's a willingness to say, yeah, I don't have it together today, but I'm still here. I showed up because this is important to me. This community is important. And I know, or if I don't know, I hope that I can show up as I am and get loved around that. And it's really challenging to be unconditionally loved if you're not showing folks who you really are, because then all they're loving is the image, right? And do we want an image to be loved? Or do we want our true nature? The way that we're really expressing, is that what we're ultimately wanting to be loved? Because that's where the healing comes in. And then what emerges from that is a faith. And it's a faith that's been tested and acknowledged and even chosen. So it's an embodied faith, not an inherited faith. Inherited faith is when we pick it up along the way, maybe from teachers, from different spiritual traditions, maybe the languaging that's going on in a spiritual community. So we start to believe, and we have this faith. I like to think of it as the faith in God. But embodied faith takes it to another level. It's a deeper walk. So embodied faith is what remains after we honestly ask our hardest questions, have our greatest doubts, and yet something is still there. Something is always present, the faith of God. So I'm not putting my faith in a God that's out there or in some deity, but it's the faith of it. For as I am part of this one life, everything is in and through and as everything, then the faith I can develop, the knowingness, the deep knowingness of how Spirit expresses is who I am, and I come to know that. And so it's this deep embodied faith. It's, again, it's not a pie in the sky, oh, it'll all work out, but it's a knowingness that at any moment, regardless of the condition going on, there's that essence of wholeness. And so I can doubt the external, and yet the wholeness is still there. So this doubting, again, is not something to be discarded. And if we start to doubt, we're not abandoning our spiritual journey. The spiritual walk is not, all rainbows and lollipops, as they say, right? It can include some doubt. It can include a dark night of the soul, or many of them, depending on how long you've been walking a path. But when we debut the doubting self, we're not abandoning the journey. We're arriving at a faith that is truly ours. And that faith will not only support us in moving forward, but it'll support us as we truly awaken to who we are. That we move beyond this idea of victimhood, beyond this idea that we have no control. As we move beyond the idea that we do have some control and that we can use the law. As we begin to open up and have life move through us, we can move into that perspective, and ultimately, even that level of separation can fall away, where we just show up. Again, the deep knowingness, the deep faith that we are the presence, that we are an aspect, an expression of this one life. So I just want to remind you, you don't have to project a perfect finished self all the time, even any time. But as you authentically show up as who you are in each moment, doubts and all, you are welcomed by a divine love that never requires a performance. All that's needed is your presence, and you can't help but show up as your presence. So this week I invite you to a simple, courageous practice. I say courageous because it does take some courage to go deep. But to find a quiet moment, maybe sitting with a journal, maybe on a walk, and let the doubting self come out and speak. What are those doubts? And there's no need to correct it. Just allow it to be seen. And take your time with it. There's no reason to rush. And just ask, what is the message that's trying to get through here? What is the doubting self deeply saying? What does it need? What does this aspect need? And then go quiet and just listen. Namaste. So I invite you now to, if you're comfortable, close your eyes, and we'll move into a time of treatment. And what I'm present to is that there's a peace and a love that is always present, in and through and as everything. And it is this one life, this one presence. It's omnipresent, omnipotent, it's all powerful, it's all knowing. It is divine love in action. It is the miracle of the non-physical showing up as a solar system, as a planet, as plants, animals, humans. It is truly a spiritual miracle, and yet it's reality. And if there is this one life, it must be true that myself, here, James, and all who are within the sound of my voice, whether they're live right now or listening later, are of this one life. That regardless of perception, there is no separation. That all the words and the qualities that we use to describe God, life, spirit, is who we are. It must be by our very nature. For life does not create something that does not have the essence of life. It's impossible. It would have to break it off and be separate. And I affirm and know here today there is no separation. That there is this love, and this love can envelop and allow the doubting self to come forward, to question, and ultimately to hear answers that allow for a deeper walk in life. And just knowing that there is full support for this type of curiosity, for this type of doubting. I give thanks that there is this aspect of life that supports us in our doubts and ultimately leads to an awakening of a deeper understanding, a deeper spiritual truth, a deeper perspective. I also give thanks for having had this moment in time here now to speak these truths. Nothing I have said here changes anything about God or life, but we're simply recognizing what is always so, always present. And so just letting this treatment go into that law There's nothing more to do. We simply let it be. We let it go. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend James. Treatment, that talk, doubt, moving forward. So, all right, now it's time for our new minister's sacred covenant, and we'll see James over on Zoom shortly. So, if you would, you can read this with me. There's only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. And knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to express spirit, I therefore know my new minister is a revelation of spirit as principle. I further know that my new minister is a fulfillment of that which has been promised by God, for it is written, principle is not bound by precedent. It operates according to law and is always available to those who are willing to align themselves with it. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister before me as inspiring spiritual oneness through wisdom, love, and authenticity. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. I am inspired to live as love in the expression of principle. I am awakening the wisdom within me by clearly communicating the principles of spirit, universal truth. I am a conduit of divine love, wisdom, and healing energy, recognizing the inherent wholeness within all beings. I'm offering teachings, classes, and mystical studies grounded in spiritual principles to cultivate inner wisdom, personal transformation, and emotional living. I'm extending the love, compassion, transformative power of spirit into wider community, fostering connections that heal, uplift, and support individuals in their unique journeys. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they will be revealed in a way that will express spirit and serve the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I'm grateful God is gracious, and so it is. And now it's time for our conscious giving. And you can donate online at cslmidtown.org/donate. We appreciate every one of you who donates regularly. And for those of you that are fed by this teaching, by these ministers that we bring in to speak every single week, if you're not already giving, please consider doing that. You can also scan the QR code on the screen. So here's our affirmation of prosperity. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow. And all that I share with life returns to me multiplied abundantly. And so it is. So continuing this month of divine doubt, we have with us Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski-Nesqui, The Silence We Agreed to Keep, What We Don't Say in Church. Interesting. So, and then at 10 a.m. every Sunday, if you are interested in diving deeper into what the Science of Mind principles are, our adult study group is going over the Science of Mind textbook, thick book, that is the basis of what we teach. They meet at 10 a.m. on Zoom. You can go to cslmidtown.org, scroll down to the bottom. There's a Zoom link with a code to get into the Zoom room and have the discussion with them. You don't have to have read what this week's reading was to participate. So with that, if you're not already on Zoom, you can come join us over there for a discussion with Reverend James after this. So let's do our affirmation of life. I leave this place now knowing something better than I knew before. I go forth into the world with a heart full of love and a mind full of good sense. I look at the world in a greater way, knowing that I have within me everything I need to create the life I desire. I give thanks for this understanding, and I am grateful for the spirit of life that lives through me. So it is. Have a great week, everyone.
Hey, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all that I have. Hey, oh yeah, grateful. I just say I am so grateful every day for all I have. Every day, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all I have. Every day I say it. Grateful. How I'm grateful. Every day. Oh yeah. I am so grateful. Oh yeah. I'm so grateful. 'Cause I accept and I receive. I am so grateful. Oh yes, I am. I am. I am so grateful. Hey, grateful. I just count my blessings. Grateful. I just count my blessings.
There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you